We are having a media tour this afternoon at 1 o'clock. I'd like to get together with those that are interested after we get done here. I'll be here for a while, so you get your interviews afterwards, and then come see me, and we'll let you know what the activities are going to be involved there. Also, we have available, or will have available after the briefing this morning, an opportunity to interview some firefighters down at Fire Station number 9. And we'll coordinate that effort with you as well after we get done with the briefing and you get done with your interviews, okay? And we'll work all that process out at that time. So this morning, Greg Hewley, Public Information Officer, Waldo Canyon Fire. We will have 5 speakers this morning. Steve Cox, Executive Assistant to the Mayor of the City of Colorado Springs. Amy Lathan, Chairman of the County Commissioners, El Paso County. Brett Waters, Office of Emergency Management Director for the City of Colorado Springs. Jerry Marr, Supervisor, Pike San Isabel National Forest and Comanche Grasslands. And Rich Harvey is the commander for the Waldo Canyon Fire. Chief, sorry.
Thank you, Greg. Steve Cox. I work for Mayor Bach on his executive team, and Mayor Bach couldn't be here this morning. I want to tell you why. But first, we want to express our condolences to the family of the deceased member that was identified yesterday. We're not going to answer any questions about that, other than the police chief may give you the address again of where that happened. But we want you to know how sad we are for them, and would ask that you would respect their family in their time of need. The mayor today, just to give you a brief itinerary of the things that he'll be working on, is he's going to meet with first and foremost, he's going to meet with the president today. And he'll be provided a list of questions to ask the president, but most of those will be around what can the federal government do for the city of Colorado Springs. So he's concerned. He's put a task force together and working on the business community, how we can help the business community to get back up and running, because it's important that people get into their businesses for one, and then get their people back to work. So that's important too. Working on recovery plans. Where do we go from here? So we'll be working on that today. And just want to speak briefly about the meeting last night with the families. As you know, we brought the families in. I just want to thank you for respecting them. It was a good meeting. It was an opportunity for people that didn't already know to hear about the status of their property. And it was moving. It really was. I mean, people were emotional, as you can understand, and it was just a difficult time for a lot of people. So we appreciate the media's help in respecting that today, or last night. With that, I'll turn it over to the next speaker.
Thank you. Amy Lathan, Chair of El Paso County Board of County Commissioners. And I just want to begin today by expressing, on behalf of all of us at the county, our condolences to those, not only obviously who have lost a family member in this, but who have lost so much in terms of homes and everything that they're going through. It is our mission, our goal at the county, to be available for absolutely anything that anyone needs. We have services, as we have mentioned, as we've gone through this, all of our services available to citizens are still up and running. We will be getting back into our Citizen Service Center on Monday, and all of the services that the county has to offer through all of our offices and departments are available, and we are making sure that those are here for all of the citizens. To that end, El Paso County has been working in conjunction with the Department of Local Affairs, with the state, with the City of Colorado Springs, all of our mutual aid agencies, to stand up a disaster recovery center. That disaster recovery center will open tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. That will be housed at the former Department of Human Services building at 105 North Spruce. It will open tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. It'll be open daily from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. There will be access to services ranging from assistance in filing insurance claims. There will be a number of insurance companies available there. There will be grief counseling. There will be services all related to rebuilding our community and helping those who are in need. Groups that will be located at this disaster recovery center will include the insurance companies, county health department, the regional building department, Pikes Peak Behavioral Health, Veteran Services, the United Way, faith-based organizations, and many, many others as we are continuing today to work to bring all of those partners in. I want to simply, Monty, if you could just step up so we put a face with the name. Monty Gore has been named the Director of Operations of our Disaster Recovery Center, and so this is the man you will go to, and he will be working with all of our agencies, everyone involved, to make sure that these services are available to our citizens. Everything that we are doing here at the county, everything that we are doing is related to helping the citizens of this county who are in need. We thank all of you for your support and your help through this.
Good morning, Brett Waters, Emergency Management Director for the City of Colorado Springs. A few updates for you this morning. Our current numbers for the shelters are Scion Mountain Schools 168, YMCA 68, and also Lewis Palmer we have 39. Those shelters remain open. Was mentioned with the Disaster Recovery Center, was mentioned by Commissioner Lightman. That's an important mission for the City of Colorado Springs and El Paso County to make sure the residents of Colorado Springs are taken care of. So we're going to work together to make sure that happens and make sure we're working together on that situation. We were happy last night at 6 p.m. to lift many of those mandatory evacuations to residents and to businesses to get them back to work and people back home. We're going to continue to look at that this morning as we look at the fire behavior and talking to the incident commander who you'll hear from here in a few minutes to continue to try to do that safely to make sure we can get people back home as safely as we can and get businesses back to work. So thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jerry Marr, Forest Supervisor for the Pike and San Isabel National Forest and the Cimarron and Comanche National Grassland. First I just want to say on behalf of the whole team, all of us on the area command, that we are truly empathize with everyone who has heard of loss yesterday in their home and for the family members of those that are part of that fatality. We are working really hard to move forward with putting this fire out. Last night when I was at the meeting here, a lot of people were wanting to know, hey, where are you today? How close are we getting to putting this fire out? There's a young man, he's 13 years old, his name is Tristan. And I told Tristan I'd say hello today, so good morning, Tristan, hope you're watching. And we're going to talk about what we're doing today and the success that we had yesterday. So yesterday, we had great weather. You can look out there today. Once again, it looks like we're going to have that same weather again today. Our firefighters, the men and the women that are part of our firefighting force, worked really hard yesterday. And as a result of that, if you just look here at the map, in Division C, I'm going to point and I'll come back and talk. Here, here, and here. And even down here. Made great strides yesterday, and they're very excited about that. We're able to up our containment now to at least 15%. And I know people may go 15%. 15% is a lot based on the type of terrain that we're dealing with here today. We feel with a lot of confidence based on the weather that we'll be able to even up that number even more by the end of the day. Our folks are very excited about getting in there, and we're going to make a lot of progress. To talk more specifically about what we're doing today and what our plan of attack is, Rich Harvey, our IC, is going to share that with you. Thank you.
Good morning, Rich Harvey, Incident Commander for the Waldo Canyon Fire. I'd like to start out by saying that the firefighting community is deeply saddened by some of the news that's been coming out of Colorado Springs. And the hearts of the firefighters go out to all those affected by wildland fires, not just in Colorado Springs, but El Paso County and communities all across Colorado and the West. That said, our focus remains on this fire, the Waldo Canyon fire. And as Jerry said, the firefighters made really good progress last night. No perimeter growth at all to report. No additional structures lost or damaged. So we're feeling really good about that. I'll show you on the map a few of the things that we have specifically to share with you. For the first time, you can start to see those black containment lines showing up here along the Highway 24 corridor. This is fire perimeter that is contained. And we are confident that that is a solid barrier and there will be no spread of the fire over those black areas. The indirect line that I talked to you about yesterday, Plymouth Hotshot Crews, I talked to their supervisor this morning, and they are confident that they will be able to get this portion of the line in today. This line here along Rampart Range Road and up and around the reservoir held last night with no movement at all. This contingency line here, several of them, remain in place as we speak. We're still confident here. Moving around this way, the spot fires that we had that came across the reservoir. Those spot fires have been lined. We have crews on them as we speak, dozers, crews, and aerial assets committed to those. Coming into here and following what I call the power line road, but I think it's Mechanic Creek as well. Firefighters are making progress on that from both sides. The maps and other aircraft were used along this ridge line to hold the fire up there, and the fire had no spread as a result of those aerial activities that we had. Working around this way, we have crews in all this area trying to connect it down to here. This line construction is going fairly well. We are a little concerned still because of the weather forecast. This is where we're on the receiving end of the winds that we do get. They're supposed to be lighter today, but this will be a focus because of the wind direction for the day. Mop-up efforts and work in here continues to be successful, as well as coming on around in here. We still have that one pocket here above Cave of the Winds that I told you about, and we're not too confident, or not able to get ground troops in on. We're confident we can keep it there with aerial resources, but we got definite eyes in the sky on this particular place there. So the focus for today is to hold what we got, improve the lines that we have in place, use aerial assets as necessary to support the troops on the ground, and bring in the heavy equipment where we can to further enhance our ability to put muscle down on the ground in front of this fire and keep it in its containment lines.
We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. I'll try and direct it to the appropriate person to answer that question.
Question I think for some others.
For Brett.
Do we have a new number of folks that are still on mandatory evacuation?
The question is there a new number for those who are still on mandatory evacuation? We're calculating that this morning on who's still under mandatory evacuation, along with looking at the fire behavior and seeing what we can lift as far as mandatory evacuation. So those numbers we're working on as we speak.
Okay, so just as a follow-up to that, as you're working on those numbers, there is potential that we could have more mandatories potentially lifted again today, depending on fire activity?
That's correct. The question is there potential lifts of mandatory evacuations? The answer is yes. We're going to work closely with the incident commander to look at that fire behavior and see what we can do.
And do you have a rough time of when we might know?
I don't. We hope to give an update at the 4 o'clock briefing. Yeah.
This one's for Chief Carey on the missing number of missing people. We got an update on how many people are missing. If the two that were
Not asking to answer yet, here you go.
Chief Carey, hi, you're dead can you give us an update on the number of missing people and if there are any concerns that maybe the death will take time? Is that something that you guys are concerned?
The question was, can we get an update on the number of missing people in the affected burn area? Good morning, Police Chief Pete Carey. We're looking at a relatively small number of people that we're still dealing with a lot of incomplete information from family members that have some information that these people were in Colorado Springs, possibly in the burn area earlier. So we're looking at a number of less than 10 that we're trying to track down, and hopefully we'll have some more information for you today about that. So that's the best I can do right now.
What about concerns about the death toll rising?
I really don't know. I know the fire department has a procedure for checking the burn areas and the houses that were destroyed. I can tell you on yesterday's tragedy, we did find human remains of one person. The information attached to that was that there was 2 people that were missing, so we're continuing the search today as we speak right now.
Chief, I understand you guys arrested 2 blockade runners a day or 2 ago. Maybe 5 blockade runners, whatever. What the current number and any of those people just trying to get their own home?
My understanding is we made a arrest of 2 burglary suspects. I don't believe we made arrests of people that were trying to pass the checkpoints.
Chief, you have any update on any investigation of the cause of the fire?
That would be a fire department question. I don't. Thank you.
Greg, I was wondering,
Okay, Scott.
for anybody who can answer it, have we seen what wildfire can do in the foothills here in our city? Has there been any thought or talk yet about some future zoning changes or anything for all the houses that are up in that area?
Chief Tommy is here. Chief Brown.
We've talked about that. I know we've received a lot of questions about that last night, but we've not made any decision. I mean, we're too far away from that yet, but we'll be discussing it as time goes by.
Do you guys plan to build, or is the plan to build up Mountain Trails back to where it was pre-fire?
Well, I don't know as we want to change something in that equation so that we don't end up with the same thing we have now. But what that is, we don't know yet. So we'll get back with you when the time is right.
Before I take any other questions right now, there's been several questions from the public about utilities and how to deal with those as they move back into their neighborhood. So Jerry Forte from Utilities is going to say a few words.
Well, good morning. First of all, I want to say that the safety of our customers is absolutely the most paramount thing for us. And if you've been allowed to return to your home, we've gone through that, and your home should be safe and your services should be secured. Now, as part of fighting this fire, there were approximately 4,200 homes whose gas service was turned off. And part of turning off that service was primarily for the protection of the firefighters in fighting the fire. Those were in the areas of Peregrine, Mountain Shadows, west of Centennial, and Oak Valley Ranch. Now, the process of restoring gas service is quite a timely process. There's a lot of safety checks that we'll be involved with, some repair work that needs to be done. We were able to get our crews in yesterday to begin the condition assessment of the utility systems. We'll continue and finalize that today. I hope by 4 o'clock today to be able to bring a plan to you of how soon you might be able to get back in terms of services. We believe there's a possibility that some residents will be allowed to return to their homes and gas service will not be functional. And it may be some time before your gas service is fully restored as we go through all the safety checks that are required as part of that. There's also a small number of folks, I think less than 800, whose electric service was also interrupted as part of this firefighting effort. That should be much quicker to be able to restore.
For the fire officials, I'll repeat Peter's question about any update on the investigation, the cause, and also
The investigation cause of the fire?
Right, and also are you getting more resources from National Guard from the air?
Okay, that's 2 questions. But Jeff, you first, and then
Good morning, Lieutenant Jeff Kramer with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. I'll address the first question that he had, which was any update on the investigative effort in terms of the cause of the fire. There's no new news to report on that. We have not been able to determine cause yet because the on-the-ground resources, if you will, being able to get fire investigators into that area has not yet occurred, although we are hopeful that that's going to occur now very, very soon, and they'll be able to get their skill set applied, if you will, and we will be eager to hear back from them if they're able to determine the cause of this fire. And once we know that, we'll certainly move forward and provide you that information.
What steps are you taking, if any? We've got a follow-up question. We're also going to answer first, then if you'd like to.
The second part of the question was, what are we getting extra National Guard assets in? Is that what? Aircraft, specifically aircraft. And I believe the answer to that is yes, we are. I was told last night that the National Guard and the military are adding 4 additional MAFs into the potential rotation. That does not necessarily mean that they will be assigned to this incident, as we are supporting fires up and down the Front Range. A new fire started last night in Grand Junction, so we share air assets and put them there. I can also assure you, though, that having those extra air assets is a positive to the ultimate firefighting effort, and that the Waldo Canyon fire continues to receive all the air assets that we feel are necessary to do the job that we have to do out there. We use not just the MAFs, in the air last night. We have almost 9 helicopters flying missions out there. We have commercial retardant aircraft, and we continue to work cooperatively and collaboratively to put the right tool in the right place for this fire.
Well, thank you, Bill.
Sorry about that.
What steps are being taken to ensure that the president's visit doesn't interfere with the emergency efforts?
Jeff, you can answer that.
The question was what steps are being taken to make sure that the presidential visit does not interrupt operations on battling fire, etc. You've heard it mentioned before that Colorado Springs Police were very clear that they didn't have the assets to help with the presidential visit, understandably so. We mentioned before that this is a team effort. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office is providing the necessary law enforcement assets to supplement the sheriff's president's protection detail. So we'll be taking care of that so that the city of Colorado Springs can stay on task with the things that they have going on. And we can assure you that his visit will not interrupt fire operations or cause those distractions that have been a concern.
Will he be blocking any roads?
I believe in terms of any roadblocks, those will be very limited. If you've been in the community before, and when we have the president visit, for instance, during Air Force Academy graduation, we've seen before that oftentimes it's a very extensive roadblock scenario. That will not be the case during this visit. We do have members of our traffic unit as well as Colorado State Patrol helping to facilitate any roadblocks that are necessary, but again, those will be extremely limited compared to what you normally see.
How does the temporary flight restriction, which is voting on the affect the ability to use the airborne assets?
The Waldo Canyon Fire has been working closely with the President's advance detail to ensure that there will be no interruptions in our aircraft or air operations over the incident as his party comes in and out of Colorado.
Jerry Bonner, could you just spend a second we see just smoke coming over the mountains. Can you spend a second just describing what it looks like back there?
From what we're currently seeing?
Like big areas where there are actually flames now, or are there
Okay.
little areas?
Okay, the question is, what is, if I can paraphrase, I think what you're asking is, what is the fire looking like? We talked a lot about what you can expect to see. This morning, if you were up pretty early, you probably saw a lot of haze in the air, a little bit of smoke still. Depending on where you're on the fire, remember this fire covers from here, over to Woodland Park, up to Rampart Reservoir, the Academy. It's kind of all over. And depending on where you are, it may look a little different. You're going to still see smoke in some areas. It's going to be hazy in other areas. You're going to still see flames in some areas as well. It really all depends. And also, what you see is going to depend on the time of day. We had great recovery last night. And so with that, it's kind of calm right now. But as the temperatures heat up, you may start to see more smoke. You may start to see more flames. So you're going to see a variety of different things depending on where you are at the fire. And where we have that kind of black line in and where we kind of containment, you probably won't see as much activity as you will in the areas where we don't have that containment secured a lot. So like I said, this fire isn't out yet, and you're still going to see all the signs that you would with the fire in the air.
Thank you, Greg. Is there anything new on Teller County side of it, evacuations there, and the firefighting effort on that end?
Rich can address the firefighting effort. You bet.
The question was, talk about the Teller County impacts of this fire. We continue as the Waldo Canyon Fire and all the cooperating agencies that we represent, stay in close contact with the folks in Teller County. In fact, we had representatives up there at a public meeting for them to show them the latest on the fire. And in fact, Sheriff Mike Ensinger was able to fly the fire last night with some of our personnel to make sure that we all have the best possible intelligence out there to make decisions as this fire moves forward. The two things that I can tell you that are directly related to Teller County from our fire is this north, potential for northern spread, where we actually have hand crews in here cutting direct line. We have contingencies in line to replace that community. Mike was particularly concerned about the spot fire out here, and we showed these spots here, the small ones, are completely contained. We have line around them, they've been mopped up. This one, which is closer to 100 acres, we have line around it, and we've begun mop-up efforts on it. I'm not calling it contained, but we are boots on the ground, line around it, actively mopping it up. This has held now for 2 days. So the stuff that we have potential to move this way towards Teller County, we're feeling pretty good about it. The decisions to lift any evacuations in that area will be up to the sheriff in that jurisdiction.
Last night, a number of homes destroyed or damaged. Any new numbers this morning about homes?
That number's not an exact. The question was the number of homes impacted by the fire. We're refining that number every day. I was up with the deputy chief at 1:30 this morning looking at some more properties. What we'll do mid-morning is we're going to update our website, so that would be the place to get that information. We'll have a list of the affected properties, those that have been completely destroyed, and then those that are damaged, along with a map. So look for that mid-morning, springsgov.com. Thank you.
I live in Adeline Court, top shadows, and fortunately, my section of the neighborhood not appear to have major damage. So I'd like to know what, for those negatively affected areas, not shadows, or areas with no damage, what specific criteria are you using to determine whether people can go back in?
Sure. I'll try to address that. The question was what specific criteria are being used to evaluate a property to get back into that. First of all, we heard from the CEO of utilities. Utilities is a big issue, gas and electric. And also, we still have an active fire in that area. We were up there last night and we still had the danger of spot fire. So I would ask you to be patient, give us a few days, and we'll work through that process and then have a plan. And I know it's a tough thing to ask, but that's really where we are.
If I may, just kind of a follow-up to that question. We go back to our number one objective for the fire, and that's life safety. And that's where all of that comes from, life safety of the firefighters and the public. So before we can allow folks in, we need to make sure that it's safe to do so.
Evacuations on the north side of Woodman Road, will they be announced throughout the day, or do we have to wait till 4 o'clock to hear the next, we're county, by the way, guys, on the north side. There we go.
Quick handoff there. You will not have to wait until 4 o'clock. If we have changes in evacuations, those are updated immediately to the media so that they can help us get the word out. Changes to the websites and all those resources that you've been following thus far to gain information. So when we change an evac scenario, either lessen it, be more aggressive in another area, those are updated immediately.
A question for Instant Command.
For the IC?
Are there any federal operatives on the ground in the affected area, and are all of them respecting the residents' second?
Federal operatives? Are there any federal operatives on the fire, and are they?
Well, I'm thinking about having a tree over Marshall.
You know, we have a couple people associated with the investigation of the cause and origin of the fire, and they're out in the middle of the black spot where there's absolutely nobody around there. So I'm pretty comfortable in saying they're doing the job we got them there for and nothing else.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I have one other item I'd like to bring up. We'd like to put a shout out to UCCS for providing this facility for us and also to helping out last night with the meeting. It was very kind of them to be able to allow us to be here for all this time and be able to have this facility. So appreciate that. If you'll get with me afterwards or with Sonny, we'll talk about the opportunity to interview firefighters. And also if you'll get with me, we'll talk about the opportunity for a media tour into the fire area this afternoon. Thank you.
All right, you have it there. That is the